Getting 2 puppies at once, from the same litter, is not a decision to be taken lightly. Yet, it's so tempting to bring home an extra puppy, especially when the puppy in question appears to be pleading to be taken home along with his sibling. You may next start thinking, why not? After all, the puppy will have a playmate to play with, so what's to lose? A multitude of problems though may await you. The insidious part is that some of the biggest problems may not start from the get-go, but only later on, as the puppies mature. However, knowledge is power when it comes to major decision-making, and if you have already made the decision, you have the advantage of recognizing the early onset of problems. What is littermate syndrome in dogs? Also known as sibling syndrome, or sibling rivalry, when relating to conflicts, sibling syndrome in dogs is an umbrella term used to encompass a variety of problems associated with getting 2 puppies at once. One important factor to consider is that, despite its name, sibling syndrome in dogs may also affect puppies who aren't from the same litter. Due to the potential for sibling syndrome in dogs, ethical breeders, shelters, and rescues don't advocate releasing 2 puppies at once unless the owners meet some specific qualifications like experience, time, financial resources, etc. So what is littermate syndrome in dogs? What potential problems should you expect? And most of all, what can be done to reduce problems? Following are some issues often encountered when raising 2 puppies at once. 1. Issues with over-attachment. One major issue when getting 2 puppies at once is the potential for the 2 puppies bonding heavily. Sure, it's cute when 2 puppies play and sleep together, but over-bonding and codependency may lead to the puppies relying mostly on each other, leaving the owner out of the equation. When 2 puppies are playing or engaging in some other activity together, and the owner intervenes to redirect them, the owner may be perceived as the party pooper, or worse, the puppies may even ignore the owner's requests. Of course, owners of multiple dogs can argue that any dogs living together are prone to bonding, and depending on each other, but the issue may be worse when puppies are young and going through some delicate stages of development. 2. Onset of anxiety and fears. On top of overattachment, when it comes to littermates, one must also factor in the potential onset of anxiety when the puppies are separated after relying so much on each other. This can turn problematic that day. One dog needs to be taken to some doggy event, or in the unfortunate case of needing to be hospitalized. Used to living and possible sleeping together, one dog or both dogs may become prone to feeling stressed, and even severely anxious when separated from the other. Something else to consider is that too much bonding between the pups risks hindering the pup's socialization with humans and other dogs. This can ultimately lead to nervous, suspicious behaviors towards strangers such as new people or dogs. 3. Onset of half-dog syndrome. Often, one puppy develops to be a little more confident, while the other remains more reserved, and on the shy side. As this latter puppy develops, he or she risks becoming overly dependent on his brother or sister. It's as if one or both puppies fail to develop to their full potential, becoming incapable of blooming, as they would if they were to be the only dog. I cannot remember a single dog who was raised with her mother to adulthood who could be successfully trained for a guide dog. Where 2 littermates are raised together in the same home, we have had the same results, points out Clarence Pfaffenberger in the book, The New Knowledge of Dog Behavior. He then further adds, in the case of 2 littermates raised together, one becomes a successful candidate for guide dog work, and one fails, even if their aptitude tests were equal. 4. Feeding off each other's emotions. Puppies raised together from a young age tend to greatly influence one another. In particular, the shy puppy may feed off the more confident dog's emotions. For example, when one dog spots another dog on a walk, he or she may become reactive, and his sibling will react as well, backing him up. Soon, you'll have 2 reactive dogs who are difficult to control and walk. Of course, this applies as well to any dogs living in the same household, but in littermates their hyper-attachment may cause the situation to escalate. 5. Fights along the way. While young puppies may get along during their first months, relationships may start deteriorating once both dogs mature. Fights among 2 female dogs have been found to be the worst, according to research. Conflict often arises over priority access towards resources such as food, toys, sleeping places and owner attention. 6. Double the trouble. Many new puppy owners struggle with all the care, attention and commitment one single puppy needs. Imagine doubling all of that up. When potty training, you may find yourself cleaning one pee mess, while your other puppy is pooping at the opposite side. When you find an accident, You won't likely know which puppy did it, so you're left with no clue on which puppy still needs to go potty outside. One puppy getting into mischief may be enough upsetting to dog owners, imagine two. One puppy may be therefore chewing your Christmas decorations, and, as you put that away, your other puppy will start chewing on something else. Socializing and training two puppies is also not without its challenges. The distraction of each other creates hurdles as the pups may pay attention more to each other rather than you. This therefore impacts the level of influence you may have over your pup's attitude and behavior towards training and exposure to stimuli. You cannot put everyone in the same basket. Of course, it goes without saying that not all littermates will go on to develop littermate syndrome. Actually, there is current debate over whether littermate syndrome is even a real thing, as there is little research and scientific literature to back it up. Most of the proof of its existence is anecdotal, with many dog owners and dog trainers having a story to share about it. Can littermate syndrome or sibling rivalry be owner-induced? Littermate syndrome in puppies may be inadvertently owner-induced, as in the case of new puppy owners making various mistakes, not knowing how to tackle certain problems or even encouraging certain behaviors. Many dog breeders and dog trainers share many success stories of raising littermates. Dog trainer Adrian Faricelli claims, "My first two dogs were two Rottweiler littermates, a boy and a girl, and as a full-time mom, I rolled up my sleeves and did everything I could to make things work out. The last littermates I fostered were two husky females. They played well and all, but at some point one started bullying the other when going out of doors, nipping and blocking the other, and often even pinning her down to the ground. I personally tackled this issue early by training them to sit before opening the door, and then calling them to me so they would focus on me rather than each other. After several reps, the issue was solved, never to present again in the following weeks." One may therefore wonder whether littermate syndrome or sibling rivalry is more likely to occur to first-time puppy owners compared to more experienced dog owners. It can certainly happen to the experienced owners as well, but perhaps it's less likely. Now that you know. As seen, getting two puppies at once can mean some trouble down the road, although it is also true that often things may work out pretty well. It's therefore not easy to predict how things like this may turn out in the long run. It's ultimately sort of like wondering whether a marriage will work out or not. It can be a hit or miss situation, with you not knowing how things may turn out until later on. Some dog owners have littermates getting greatly along, others are not that lucky. So with all of this in mind, the million-dollar question is, can you raise two puppies successfully? The answer is of course, yes. There are many success stories out there, but the task is not without any struggles. Following are some general tips for upping your chances for success. How to raise two puppies successfully. These are just some general guidelines to successfully raise littermate puppies, but they may not always work. Every case is different and therefore you may need different approaches and may attain different results. Keep the two pups separated starting early. For instance, take one pup on a walk while your spouse walks the other one. When you have to run to the pet store, leave one pup at home with a family member, while the other rides in the car. Organize separate training sessions and playing sessions, take them to puppy classes separately, gradually teach them to sleep separately and cope with being apart. Pick a boy and a girl. Statistics show that same-sex combinations are more likely to encounter problems. In particular, two females are more likely to not get along once socially mature compared to other combinations. Of course, get them spayed and neutered. Manage the environment. Prevent problems by providing space between the dogs when feeding long-lasting treats and bones, and remove toys if they are a source of conflict. In other words, take steps to prevent conflict from arising and prevent rehearsal of problem behaviors. Consider it a full-time job. Dealing with littermates is for the most part a full-time job, so it's best if at least one person can spend time with the pups most of the day, to prevent over-bonding between the pups. Seek help from a family member. An even better solution would be having two people at home with the pups so that one can socialize, train, and play with one puppy, while the other takes care of the other. This of course, is not always feasible. Consider the risks. Most ethical, responsible breeders don't allow potential owners to bring home two littermates at once because of the heavy workload and risks for potential problems. They may though make some exceptions if the prospective owner is experienced. If a breeder easily allows any potential buyer to purchase two puppies at once, that's generally a sign of a poor quality breeder. This raises the risks for the puppies not having great temperaments, which consequently ups the risks for problems along the road. Don't assume dogs can work things out. Sure, if it's just a little growl over something that is solved in a ritualistic manner, that's good conflict resolution. But if your dogs go into attack mode, it's best to enlist the help of a professional for an assessment and subsequent plan. Following the common advice of letting dogs work things out can lead to bloody messes and even needs for stitches. Not to mention the longer-lasting emotional scars that can take time to effectively heal. Consult with the pros. It can be very tempting trying to solve behavior problems at home, perhaps using the advice found over the internet, which can sometimes be good, but sadly too often is bad. A good dog behavior professional, using force-free methods, can provide important insights on the behavior. For example, you may think one dog is provoking the other, while in reality he may be responding to a provocation rather than being the actual troublemaker. Don't take the decision lightly. Think it over carefully. In a nutshell, most owners do not have the time and patience to successfully raise littermates. This is why they often end up rehoming one puppy. However, those who are determined, patient, and have time to raise each pup individually may raise two well-behaved puppies capable of growing to their full potential, or at least very close to it.
Please like us and subscribe for more fascinating dog discoveries.